I was performing the final number of my midnight show when I heard the gunshot. Not from the theater, from behind it, in the alley where the stage door opened onto Seville's oldest streets. The tourists didn't notice, too drunk on wine and flamenco to register the sharp crack that cut through my castanets. But I noticed. I always noticed gunshots. You don't forget that sound once it's taken something from you. I finished the dance because stopping would draw attention. Let my red dress whirl and my heels hammer the wooden stage while my mind screamed at me to run, to hide, to not make the same mistake I'd made 7 years ago in Madrid when I'd heard a gunshot and investigated and destroyed my entire life. The applause came. I bowed, smiled, collected tips from tourists who had no idea the woman dancing for them was barely breathing. Then I went backstage, told my fellow dancers I felt sick, grabbed my coat, and did the stupidest thing possible. I went to see what had happened in the alley. The stage door opened onto narrow cobblestones slick with recent rain, lit only by one flickering streetlight. I should have seen the body first, should have registered the violence. Instead, I saw him. Tall, maybe 6'2", dark hair, dressed in black like the shadows he stood in. He was wiping blood off his hands with a cloth, methodical and calm, like he'd done this 1,000 times. Next to him was a man slumped against the wall, very dead, bullet hole in his forehead still smoking. The man in black looked up, saw me standing in the doorway. Our eyes met. I should have screamed, should have run back inside and called the police. Instead, I froze. Because I recognized the look in his eyes, not cruelty or madness or even satisfaction, just exhaustion, bone-deep weariness, the look of someone who'd killed so many times he'd stopped feeling anything about it. He said in perfect Spanish with a slight Italian accent, "Close the door, go back inside, forget you saw this." I can't, I already saw. Then I have a problem. He dropped the cloth, his hand moving toward his jacket where I saw the outline of a gun. "Which means you have a bigger problem." My survival instinct finally kicked in. I turned to run, got maybe 3 steps before he was behind me, one hand over my mouth, the other around my waist, pulling me back into the alley. "Don't scream, don't fight, just listen." His voice was quiet, calm. "I'm going to let you go. You're going to walk away. You won't call the police. You won't tell anyone what you saw, because if you do, I'll have to come back, and next time won't be this gentle. Understand?" I nodded against his hand. He released me slowly, stepped back. I turned to face him, my back against the theater wall, trapped between him and the door. Up close, he was younger than I'd thought, maybe 35, with sharp features and dark eyes that looked almost sad, handsome in a dangerous way. Everything about him screamed professional killer, except for the way he was looking at me. Not like a witness he needed to eliminate. Like something else, something complicated. "You're the flamenco dancer," he said. "I saw your show 3 nights ago. You were..." He stopped himself. "This is your last performance here?" "Tonight's my last night. The season ends. I'm moving to a new theater next week." Why was I telling him this? Why was I having a conversation with a man who'd just murdered someone? "Good. Then you won't see me again. And I won't have to worry about you being a problem." He pulled out his gun, checked it, put it away. "The man I killed, he deserved it. I know that doesn't matter to you. But he hurt children, trafficked them. The people who hired me don't tolerate that. So he's gone. And Seville is safer for it, if that helps you sleep tonight." "Who are you?" "No one you want to know?" He stepped back into shadows. "Go home, Baila Hora. Forget my face. Forget this night. Live your life." Then he was gone. Disappeared into Seville's maze of streets like he'd never existed, leaving me standing in that alley with a corpse and 1,000 questions. I didn't call the police, didn't tell anyone. I went home to my small apartment in Santa Cruz, locked every lock, and spent the night staring at the ceiling trying to convince myself I'd imagined it all. But I hadn't, and 3 days later, he found me at my new theater. I was rehearsing alone. The company didn't start until next week, but I liked having the space to myself, to practice without judgment. I was working on a soleá, the saddest of flamenco forms, when I felt someone watching. He was sitting in the back row of the empty theater. Same dark clothes, same exhausted eyes, just watching me dance like he had every right to be there. I stopped mid-step. "How did you find me?" "I'm very good at finding people. It's part of my job." He stood, walked down the aisle toward the stage. "You didn't report what you saw. I needed to know why." "Because I didn't want you coming back to kill me." That's smart self-preservation, but most people can't resist. They tell someone, a friend, a priest, a therapist. They need to share the burden. You didn't. Why? I sat on the stage edge, suddenly tired. Because I've seen violence before. I know how it works. I know getting involved just makes things worse. So I keep my head down and I dance, and I don't ask questions about things that aren't my business. "You've seen violence. In Madrid?" He said it like he knew something, like he'd researched me. 7 years ago, the shooting at Teatro Real. You were there. My blood went cold. "How do you know that?" "Because I make it my business to understand witnesses, especially ones who see me work." He climbed onto the stage, sat next to me. Close, but not threatening. "You were a principal dancer, rising star. Then the shooting happened, some cartel war that spilled into the theater, and you disappeared. Changed your name from Sofia Mendoza to Sofia Reyes. Moved to Seville, started over in small tourist shows. You've been hiding for 7 years." "I wasn't hiding, I was surviving." "Same thing, usually." He looked at me. "What did you see that made you run?" "I saw my fiancé die, shot in a crossfire between men who were fighting over territory or money, or something that had nothing to do with art or beauty or any of the things we cared about. I saw his blood on the stage where I'd danced Giselle the night before. And I left because I couldn't be in that world anymore. Couldn't perform in places where violence could find me." My voice broke. "I dance for tourists now. Small shows, safe shows, where no one's shooting anyone." "Except I brought violence to you anyway?" He looked genuinely regretful. "I'm sorry. That alley, that was supposed to be clean. No witnesses. I didn't know you'd hear the shot." "Why are you really here? Just to make sure I'm not talking?" "Partly. And partly because I can't stop thinking about you." He said it like a confession. "I've killed 43 people in my career. I see their faces sometimes. But I can't stop seeing yours. The way you looked at me in that alley. Not with fear exactly. With understanding. Like you knew what it felt like to be that tired. That empty. I've never had someone look at me like that. I don't understand what you want from me." "Neither do I. I should leave. Should let you go back to your safe life, but..." He pulled out a card, set it on the stage. "If you're ever in danger, if you ever need help, call that number. I'll come. I'll protect you, no matter what." "Why would you do that? You don't know me." "Because I saw you dance, and something that beautiful doesn't deserve to be hurt by my world." He stood. "My name is Lorenzo. I probably shouldn't tell you that. But I want you to know who's watching over you." "I don't need watching over." "Maybe not, but you have it anyway." He walked toward the exit, stopped. "Be careful, Sophia. Violence has a way of finding people who've seen it before. If it finds you again, call me." Then he left, and I sat on that stage holding his card, thinking about how 7 years ago I'd run from violence, and here it was again, wearing a handsome face and offering protection I definitely shouldn't accept. I threw the card away, told myself I'd never see Lorenzo again. Told myself to focus on dancing, on rebuilding my career slowly and safely. But I kept thinking about him, about the exhaustion in his eyes, about how he'd looked at me like I was something precious and fragile, about how he'd killed a man and then watched me dance. 2 weeks later, someone attacked me outside the theater. I was walking home after the late show, taking the route I always took through Santa Cruz's winding streets. Safe neighborhood, well lit, usually full of people. But it was 3 a.m. and raining, and I was alone. They came from behind. 2 men, one grabbing my purse, the other pushing me against a wall. Standard mugging. I should have just given them the purse and let them go. But I'd spent 7 years learning to fight back in small ways. Spent 7 years being angry at the violence that had stolen my life. So I fought. Bad idea. The one holding me hit me hard enough that I tasted blood. Said something about teaching me respect. Raised his hand to hit me again. Then suddenly, he wasn't there anymore. Lorenzo had appeared from nowhere. How did he keep doing that? And slammed the mugger into the wall hard enough to crack plaster. The second one tried to run. Lorenzo threw a knife that pinned his jacket to a wooden door 10 feet away. The one against the wall was begging in Spanish. Lorenzo responded in a voice so cold, it made me shiver. "You touched her. That was a mistake. Apologize." I'm sorry. We didn't know she was protected." "Apologize to her, not to me." Lorenzo twisted the man's arm. "Now." The mugger looked at me, bleeding and terrified. "I'm sorry, senora. Please. We didn't know." Lorenzo released him. Both men ran without looking back. Lorenzo turned to me, his expression softening immediately. "Are you hurt?" "How did you know I was here? How did you—" "I've been watching, making sure you're safe. I told you violence finds people who've seen it." He touched my face where the mugger had hit me, gentle despite having just threatened to kill 2 men. "You're bleeding." "It's just a split lip. I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're shaking." He took off his jacket, wrapped it around my shoulders. "I'm taking you home. Which building?" "You can't just follow me home." "I'm not asking permission." He guided me through the streets, one hand on my back, protective and possessive at once. "Where do you live?" I gave up arguing, gave him my address, let him walk me to my building, up the stairs, to my apartment door. Inside, he made me sit while he got ice for my face, checked me for injuries with careful hands that had killed 43 people, but touched me like I was made of glass. "This is my fault," he said finally. "Me talking to you, me giving you that card. Someone saw. Someone knows you have a connection to me. That makes you a target." "A target for what? Who are you really, Lorenzo?" "I'm an enforcer for the Ramirez family. They run most of Andalusia. Drugs, weapons, protection, everything. When someone crosses them, I'm sent to solve the problem. Permanently. I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm very good at it, and very tired of it." "Then stop. Walk away?" "It's not that simple. You don't leave this life. You die in it, or you get killed trying to escape it." He sat next to me. "But I've been thinking about leaving anyway, about disappearing, becoming someone else, like you did. And then I saw you dance, and I thought, maybe there's something worth escaping for. Maybe there's still beauty in the world that I could protect instead of destroy." "Lorenzo!" "I know. It's too much. Too fast. I'm a killer telling you I want to change because of flamenco. It sounds insane. But Sophia..." He took my hand. "I haven't felt anything in 10 years except exhaustion. Then I saw you perform, and I felt something. Hope maybe, or just the memory of being human, and I need that, even if it's selfish, even if it puts you in danger. I need to be near something that's still alive." I should have kicked him out, should have called the police, should have run like I'd run from Madrid. Instead, I said, "Stay, tonight, I don't want to be alone." He stayed, slept on my couch, fully dressed, gun within reach. I lay awake in my bedroom listening to him breathe, trying to understand how I'd ended up with a hitman protecting me from the violence he'd brought into my life. In the morning, he was making coffee when I came out. Domestic. Surreal. "I need to leave Seville," he said without preamble. "My employers are asking questions about why I'm spending time here, about why I've been distracted. If they find out about you..." He stopped. "I should disappear, let you go back to your safe life. Will they stop targeting me if you leave?" "Eventually. once they realize you're not important to me. But I am important to you. He looked at me. Yes. Then leaving doesn't solve anything. They already know. They've already made me a piece in whatever game you're playing with them. I poured coffee, trying to steady my hands. So, what are our actual options? I kill anyone who comes after you until my family decides you're not worth the trouble, or I bring you into my protection officially. Make it clear that you're mine and hurting you means war? Or, he paused. Or, I do what I've been thinking about for 6 months. I betray my family. I steal information they need kept secret. I sell it to their rivals or the police. I burn everything down and disappear with enough money to start over. Somewhere they can't reach. Somewhere I can just be Lorenzo and you can just be Sophia and we can pretend we're normal people. That's not a real plan. That's suicide. Maybe, but it's the only option that ends with you being safe and me being free. Everything else just delays the inevitable. He set down his coffee. I'm not asking you to come with me. I'm not asking you to be part of this. But if I'm going to burn my life down, I want it to be for something real. Someone real. And Sophia, you're the only real thing I've seen in 15 years. You don't know me. You've seen me dance twice and rescued me once. That's not enough to throw your life away for. Then let me know you. Let me be around you. Let me see if what I'm feeling is real or just desperation. He moved closer. Give me 2 weeks. Let me protect you while I plan my exit. Let me be near something beautiful before I destroy everything. Then decide if you want to run with me or let me go. I should have said no. Should have told him to leave and never come back. Should have protected myself the way I'd been protecting myself for 7 years. Instead, I said, 2 weeks, but you sleep on the couch, and you don't kill anyone unless my life is actually in danger. And Lorenzo, if I decide to run at the end of 2 weeks, you let me go. No following, no protecting from a distance. You just disappear and let me live. Deal. He stayed, and for 2 weeks my life became something strange and intimate and terrifying. Lorenzo was there when I woke up making breakfast, there when I rehearsed, watching from the theater shadows, there when I performed, standing in the back, his eyes tracking my every movement, there when I came home, turning my apartment into a fortress with locks and cameras and a gun I refused to touch. But he was also gentle, quiet, careful not to overwhelm me. We'd have coffee in the mornings and talk about nothing. His childhood in Naples, my training at the conservatory, the ways we'd both ended up in lives we hadn't chosen. We'd walk through Seville's streets at night when the tourists were gone, and he'd tell me about the city's hidden histories, which families controlled, which neighborhoods, where bodies were buried, how power really flowed beneath the beautiful facades. And slowly, impossibly, I started falling for him. For the way he looked at me like I was a miracle. For the way he'd listened to me talk about flamenco like it mattered more than territories and violence. For the exhaustion in his eyes that matched the exhaustion in mine. For the fact that we were both people who'd survived things we shouldn't have and were still trying to find something worth living for. The first time he kissed me was 10 days into our 2 weeks. I was practicing a farruca, strong, masculine rhythm, and I'd nailed a sequence I'd been struggling with. I turned to him, excited, wanting to share the victory. He was there suddenly, hands framing my face, kissing me like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Desperate and tender, and absolutely certain. When he pulled back, he said, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have." I pulled him back, kissed him properly. Felt 15 years of his exhaustion meet 7 years of mine. We made love on my couch, urgent and careful, both of us scared of breaking something precious. After, lying tangled together, he said, "I've been planning the betrayal. I have documents, evidence, everything the Ramirez family has done for 20 years. I can give it to their rivals, the Giovannis out of Milan. They'll pay enough that we can disappear. Morocco maybe, or South America. Somewhere warm where you can dance and I can just be. When? 3 days. I have one last job. Then I make the deal, get the money, and we run. Together, if you'll come with me. This is insane. We've known each other 2 weeks, 13 days, and I've been a killer for 15 years, and I've never wanted anything the way I want to leave this life with you. He touched my face. You don't have to say yes now. Just think about it. Think about whether dancing for tourists in Seville is really the life you want. Or if maybe you're ready to stop hiding. Stop being afraid. Stop letting one night in Madrid define the rest of your existence. What if I run with you and it doesn't work? What if we get bored or scared or realize we don't actually know each other? Then at least we tried. At least we chose something instead of just surviving. He kissed me again. I'm choosing you, Sophia. I'm choosing life over death, beauty over blood, hope over exhaustion. I'm choosing to believe that I can be more than a killer, that you can be more than a refugee from your own dreams. I'm choosing us, even if it's stupid, even if it gets me killed. I'm choosing. I said yes. Said I'd run with him. Said I'd pack my things and disappear and try to build a life with a man I barely knew but felt like I'd been waiting for my entire existence. The job Lorenzo had was supposed to be simple. A meeting with a rival family member who needed eliminating. Standard. Clean. His last one before he betrayed everyone and ran. I asked him not to go. Said we should just leave now, tonight, skip the job, and disappear. He said he needed the cover. If he vanished without completing his work, they'd know something was wrong. If he finished the job, he'd have a few days' grace before they realized he'd betrayed them. He left at 9 p.m., said he'd be back by midnight. We'd leave at dawn. Morocco first, then decide from there. Midnight came. 1 a.m., 2 a.m. My phone rang at 3. Sophia! Lorenzo's voice was tight with pain. I need you to listen. The job was a trap. My family knew about the documents, about planning to leave. Someone told them. They ambushed me. I'm hurt, and they're coming for you. Where are you? Doesn't matter. You need to run. Right now. Don't go to the airport. Don't use your real name. Just disappear. I'll find you. But right now, run. I'm not leaving you. They're coming to your apartment, Sophia. They're going to use you to get to me, to make me give them the documents. If they find you there, they'll hurt you. Badly. Please, trust me. Run. The line went dead. I stood frozen for 3 seconds. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs outside my apartment. Multiple people, coming fast. I grabbed my go bag, the one I'd kept packed since Madrid, always ready to run. Went out my bedroom window onto the fire escape. Dropped to the alley below. Started running through Santa Cruz's maze of streets. Behind me, I heard my door breaking down. Shouting. Searching. I ran harder. Found a small church, La Iglesia de San Bartolomé, still open despite the hour. Slipped inside. Found a confessional. Hid. Tried to breathe quietly while footsteps echoed in the church. Men searching. Calling my name. Saying things about what they'd do to me when they found me. They left, eventually. I stayed in that confessional until dawn. Then I called the only number I could think of. Teatro Real, how may I help you? The voice of my old theater in Madrid. The place I'd fled from 7 years ago. This is Sofia Mendoza? I used to dance there. I need to speak to Senor Alonso. It's an emergency. They connected me. My old artistic director, the man who'd tried to convince me to stay after the shooting, who'd told me I had a future if I'd just be brave enough to claim it. Sophia, my God, after all these years, are you calling to say you're coming back? I'm calling to say I need help. I'm in Seville. I've gotten involved with dangerous people. I need somewhere to hide, somewhere they won't look. Come to Madrid, come back to the theater. We're preparing for a new season. I can give you a role, protection, whatever you need. Come home, Sophia. I went to Madrid that morning, took a bus under a fake name, arrived at Teatro Real like a ghost returning to haunt her own death. Senor Alonso was older, grayer, but his eyes still held the same warmth. He didn't ask questions, just gave me a key to an apartment in the theater district, a rehearsal space to use alone, and a small role in the core for the upcoming season. When you're ready to tell me what happened, I'll listen. Until then, you're safe here. Welcome home. I spent 3 days hiding, not rehearsing, not performing, just waiting for Lorenzo to call, for the other shoe to drop, for violence to find me again. On the fourth day, someone knocked on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole and saw him. Lorenzo, alive, but barely. He was leaning against the doorframe, blood seeping through his shirt, his face pale and drawn. I opened the door. He nearly fell inside. I caught him, helped him to the couch. How did you find me? I'm very good at finding people, and I knew. He coughed blood. I knew you'd run to Madrid, to the theater, where your old life was, where you felt safe. I needed to make sure you were okay before you what? Lorenzo, you need a hospital. Can't. My family has people everywhere. I just needed to see you, to tell you. He pulled an envelope from his jacket, pressed it into my hands. Bank account, offshore, 3 million euros. Everything I stole before they caught me. It's yours. Use it to disappear properly. Build a life. Dance somewhere beautiful. Just be safe. I'm not taking your money. We're going to get you help. We're going to figure this out together. There's no together, Amer. I'm dying. They shot me 5 times. I've lost too much blood. I wanted to see you one last time. Wanted to know I saved something beautiful before I died. Even if I only had you for 13 days. Don't do this. Don't give up. We were supposed to run. Supposed to have a life. We will. In the next one, maybe. He touched my face. You made me feel human again, Sophia. You made me remember what it was like to want something besides death. That's everything. Thank you. He closed his eyes. I called an ambulance, gave them the address, begged them to hurry. But I could. See him fading, see the life leaving him with each shallow breath. Lorenzo, please, stay with me. Stay. I saw you dance. That's enough. He smiled. That's enough. He died in my arms 3 minutes before the ambulance arrived. Died thinking he'd saved me. Died having felt something besides exhaustion for 13 days. Died believing in beauty instead of blood. The police came. Asked questions. I told them he was a friend who'd been attacked, that I didn't know by who, that I was just trying to help. They didn't believe me, but they couldn't prove anything. Let me go with warnings to be more careful about the company I kept. I used Lorenzo's money exactly how he'd wanted. Paid for a new identity that was unbreakable. Moved to Barcelona, rented a small studio, started dancing again, not for tourists this time, but for myself. Building back the career I'd abandoned 7 years ago when violence had first found me. And I performed a farruca every night, the strong, masculine flamenco form, the one I'd been practicing when Lorenzo first kissed me. Danced it like a memorial, like a prayer, like proof that 13 days of feeling human was worth 15 years of killing. Worth dying for, worth remembering. The Ramirez family never found me. Lorenzo had been right. I'd been a piece in their game, but not important enough to hunt once he was dead. They moved on, found new enforcers, forgot about the flamenco dancer who'd stolen their killer's heart. But I never forgot him. Never forgot the exhaustion in his eyes that matched mine. Never forgot how he'd looked at me like I was salvation. Never forgot 13 days of feeling seen and protected and alive. 5 years later, I was dancing at the Palau de la Música in Barcelona. Lead role, sold-out crowd, the career I dreamed of finally real. After the show, someone left flowers in my dressing room, white roses, and a note in Italian. He wanted you to have this life. He wanted you to dance like you were born to. I was his brother. I wanted you to know. He died happy because of you. You gave him hope when he had none. Thank you. Marco Ricci. I never found out if Marco Ricci was real or a ghost, but I kept that note. Kept the white roses pressed in a book. Kept Lorenzo's memory alive every time I danced, every time I felt the duende, that deep flamenco soul, rise in my chest. He'd been a killer. I'd been a refugee from violence. We'd had 13 days and a dream of running away together. It wasn't enough time. wasn't enough life, but it was enough to remind me that even in the darkest places, even in the bloodiest moments, beauty could still exist. Love could still happen. Hope could still survive. I danced his Faruka every night for 5 years. Danced it like he was watching from the shadows. Danced it like thanks, like prayer, like proof that 13 days of being human had mattered more than 15 years of being a killer. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. Thank you so much for listening to this story. If you enjoyed Sophia and Lorenzo's devastating 13-day love story, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Did you think Lorenzo could actually escape his life? Or did you know from the start it would end in tragedy? I love hearing your thoughts on these impossible romances where beauty collides with violence and love means sacrifice. If you're new here, consider subscribing because I post stories like this every day, exploring what happens when ordinary people are pulled into dangerous worlds and have to choose between safety and connection. Drop a comment with what kind of story you'd like to hear next. Maybe another Spanish underworld romance, or something completely different. Your suggestions help shape what I create. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.